Welcome back to Tarot by the Bay. I'm David. It is Saturday, June 3rd. I've changed my setup a little bit on this reading. I've got my laptop up on a box, and I've got a new deck of tarot cards that are much smaller than your normal deck of tarot cards because I want to do a yesterday, today, and tomorrow spread, and it takes up a fair amount of room on my reading table. So the smaller cards allow me to actually do the full spread, as well as allow you to see the cards as they're laid out. So I was contemplating who I was going to throw a spread on, and I think I'm going to do it on Joe Biden. He's been a popular read the last couple weeks. He just had his fall, and I want to look at Joe Biden for what he was dealing with yesterday, and yesterday means the past, what he's dealing with today, and what he's going to be dealing with in the future. And then above that will be the spiritual lessons that he's supposed to be taking away from these challenges that he faces. Okay? So, entertainment purposes only. Let's find out what's going on with Joe Biden. So let me go ahead and move my laptop back here a little bit. We will knock the camera down, and we will begin the reading. Central to the reading, I'm just going to throw the cards over. We have the King of Pentacles. Sorry, that's going to be really small, but that's just the nature of this reading. So we have yesterday, today, tomorrow, signifiers for yesterday, signifiers for today, signifiers for tomorrow. Is this all getting on camera? It is indeed, actually. No, if there's inversions, it's because these cards are really small and it's hard to shuffle. And then the lesson to be learned going forward. Let's see. We got that right there. Okay. Underneath it all is victory. Okay, so what's the lesson that we've got here? Center to this is the King of Pentacles. This is Joe Biden being the overarching energy, the person in charge here. And, in some ways, he's been a wealthy, powerful man his entire life, because he's been in politics his entire life, or at least a big chunk of it. And it allows him to help determine the health and wealth of not only of himself, but of the country as a whole. So yesterday, in the past, we have the World card. This was his destiny and his destiny fulfilled. He had been a senator for years and years and years. He was the vice president of the United States, and he had gone off into retirement. He was done. He had done everything he needed to do. Center underneath it was the disappointment and the backstabbing. He had gotten a lot of legislation through. He had made a lot of friends. He was very successful in Washington, D.C., and knew of a time when there was bipartisan agreements, and back when the government worked kind of like the government was supposed to work. But that changed, and that changed when Donald Trump got elected. All the norms got thrown out, and you kind of expected that things were going to get crazy town. But nobody expected, or at least maybe he didn't expect it to be as crazy as it was. I think a lot of us did. And it was just confirmation. But for other people, they didn't see this coming. I don't know how you missed it, but okay. And I think he wanted to run for president in 2016, but it was Hillary's turn. So he stepped aside and let Hillary have her turn, and she was unelectable. It might have been elected anyways, but we don't have that information to say that there were shenanigans going on. We know there were, but we don't know if it was enough to actually overturn the election. But other readers have certainly postulated that. I'm looking at you, Linda G. And I think he was looking at, oh my God, what the heck happened? He cannot believe what happened to this country and how far down it had gone. What a disappointment it was. He was ready to start his new journey. He was done. He was going to start his life as a civilian again. He was going to spend time with his wife Jill and his dogs and his grandkids. And he was just going to go off and do his thing, looking at life in a new perspective. Not as public servant Biden, but as citizen Biden. That's what was going to happen. That's what he was going to deal with yesterday. But things changed. And what changed was he decided he needed to run for president because he felt the country needed him. And people were really excited when he announced. But then enthusiasm kind of weaned off as we looked at other candidates. But he proved to be the most viable candidate over time and eventually did get the nomination and won the presidency. So now, what's he dealing with? Right now, he's dealing with strength. Put this back up here. Now he's got strength. He is showing the mastery of the White House. We've had, the State of the Union address, where he very expertly maneuvered the GOP into agreeing not to make cuts to Medicare and Social Security and other things. And now with this debt ceiling, the GOP was trying to hold the debt ceiling hostage, and he managed to negotiate that with which I would certainly call a win for the Biden administration. I wouldn't call it a win for McCarthy, and certainly the MAGA Republicans are not calling it a win. So he is showing strength. He is showing mastery in that position. But underneath it is sorrow. I think he's looking at the state of the country, and he just can't understand the ugliness that's out there. 3 cups down, 2 cups up. It's not all horrific, but this is not the America he thought he knew. This is not the America he envisioned. This is not the America he legislated. But this is the America that we're in right now. And, a lot of it has to do with messaging from foreign countries who are not friendly to the United States. There's that feeling of betrayal. He was accused of sexual assault or sexual harassment by some woman who I heard rumor showed up in Russia. I'd have to go look that up. I don't remember her name right now, but she kind of did that and disappeared. He trips and falls, and people are just mocking him and laughing at him for that. This country has gotten cruel and has reveled in cruelty for the last several years. And that's heartbreaking to him. And he even feels betrayed by folks in his own party, most likely. Those that are saying he's too old, needs to step down. He's doing fine. Let him legislate. He was the guy we needed at the time we needed him. The ship was going to the rocks. It was listing. He righted the ship and he turned it away from the rocks. Is it the progressive president or progressive administration we're hoping to have? No. But it wasn't time for the progressive administration. What it was time for the administration to try and bring things back to a normal, steady state so that we can build a progressive future. The other part on this is the planning. He's looking to the future. He's looking at his next steps. This is the re-election. And, it's a year or two away at this point. And he's looking towards that because he realizes his job is not done. And he needs to keep going. Again, underneath all this is the victory card. He was victorious in the past. He passed legislation. He got a lot of good stuff done. He's been victorious in the present. Time and time again, he's been challenged by the GOP, and he's come out on top. He has passed legislation that nobody thought could get passed because the GOP controlled the House. Okay, coming down again. What's he got going in the future? We have the 8 of Swords, Queen of Wands, Temperance, and the 2 of Cups. Okay, so the thing he's going to have to deal with in the future is that feeling that he's trapped and inhibited. He went in the office and he wanted to have a Franklin Delano Roosevelt and FDR type of administration. And he hasn't been able to do that because the Republicans have controlled the House. So any really progressive legislation that would truly help the majority of working Americans, he hasn't been able to pass it because the House, it just won't hear it. They don't want average Americans to do well. They want wealthy Americans to do well. So again, if you're a MAGA supporter and you are watching this still and you're getting all steamed up about it, sorry, that's true. The tax cut that Trump passed, that helped billionaires. It didn't help common people. You got a $60 rebate to help pay your Costco bill. That's how the Republicans sold it. Wealthy people got millions back. You got $60. I don't think that was fair. Anyways, so he's held up by that. But again, that's something in his mind. So he needs to start thinking about the actions he's going to take forward. And there's your black cat, the black sandbag that he tripped over, type of thing. You know, and in my comment section on my last video about this, some people pointed out that Biden's in other messages, when he stumbles, he gets back up and he carries on. And then more people support him to make sure he can carry on. So even though he's feeling trapped, he's going to continue. He's not going to let one trip or one stumble or one obstacle stop him. He's going to continue doing what he needs to do. He knows it's going to take time for these programs to be put in place. So you have the temperance card here. But he's going to see this to its natural conclusion. And he's going to integrate this society. He's going to get people to come together. It's toxic right now. Temperance is about removing toxicity. And it's about integration. And that's what he's been doing his entire administration. And that's what he's going to continue doing. We also have the Two of Cups. Agreements that are made. There's been a lot of speculation that will he serve out his whole 4 years in his second term? He may not. That Queen of Wands might be, you know what? I'm too restricted. If I step down, maybe somebody else can get stuff done. But expect that he's going to continue making deals. He's going to continue making agreements. And he's going to continue doing things because he wants to be untrapped. He doesn't want to be the victim of the Eight of Swords. And again, there is victory under everything this man does. He has been victorious with lots of things. Doesn't mean he wins everything, but he's been victorious with lots of things. What is the spiritual message over all of this? Let's bring it on down. I'll move the cards down a little bit here so that these have a little more room here. What we have is the Four of Wands. Underneath is the High Priestess, the Ace of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Okay. So, and again, victory under all of this. This is the welcoming card. This is the card of inclusion. This is the Four of Wands. They refer to it as the wedding card. And at high energy, this is about inclusion. This is about welcoming people, bringing people into your camp. And there are moments where he was excluding people, especially early on in his career. And certainly Kamala held him to account for the school bus incident. And I know other viewers of mine will name off some legislation that Biden passed that was not helpful to a lot of people, to certain people that he worked with who have ugly past histories with racism that he worked with. But Biden is the type of person who's always trying to bring more people into the camp. He's always trying to do that. Why? He sees the wisdom of having a larger group, a larger body of people. He's always trying to bring people in. And people that come into the camp, they have different perspectives. They bring different things of value. But you won't know the value until you have them in there. Certainly with the Democrats, they look at the MAGA Republicans and shake their head like, what possible value do they bring? Well, they bring passion, they bring energy, they bring fire, they bring strong emotions. These are the people that will throw themselves off the cliff if you ask them to in order to protect others. Absolutely fanatical. The thing is, right now they're being very misguided by Trump and the elites that understand what these people are about, but don't value them at all. They give them absolutely zero value as far as that goes. Joe Biden is a strong, sympathetic, emotional man. He's emotionally available, and he just absolutely cares about people. He has a real strong component like that. You know, the picture of him kissing his grandchildren's head, that detractors were saying that he was a weird head-sniffing pervert. It was his grandchildren at their dad, I believe's funeral, and he was consoling them. What kind of freaking turd do you have to be to judge somebody for something like that? You didn't even do an iota of research to confirm that. And that's cruel. And it's beyond cruel. It says something about your character. His character is different. He looks for the good in people. Always does. But at some point, he's going to have to walk away. Does he walk away from people who are cruel? Probably. I think that's one of the hardest things he's learned to do, is knowing when there's just no salvaging a relationship. Knowing when you just have to walk. That person doesn't have the energy, the positivity to be in your sphere. Okay. But in the end of the day, I think he's succeeded in his spiritual lessons of inclusion. I think he's shown wisdom, he has shown compassion, and it shows in all his work. So we are very fortunate to have him as the president at this moment. He was the right person for the job at this moment. And the next president will likely be the right person that we need at that stage of this country. Okay, so that's my reading on Joe Biden for yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope this reading brought some enlightenment and maybe a new perspective on Joe Biden and his life's work. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I appreciate your support you've given me. I love reading all the comments and replying to as many as I can. It's been really humbling to watch how quickly this channel has grown over the last 6 months. And I couldn't have done it without you and your help on this one. So thank you, everyone. I hope you have a great Pride Month, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.